Good morning, happy Sunday. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is David Okon, and actually in the kitchen, and I'm actually trying to see how it works this way. So essentially, I'm actually trying to see how the cameraing works in this manner, moving around and doing videoing just to check to see how it works. There you are. Welcome to 2020, and we are actually in the middle of January, February, the beginning of the year. You could easily argue that we are doing well in 2024. Things can only get better. If you consider the whole of 2020, I've actually been talking about the cost of living crisis, which has actually been bedeviling the British people, also teaching us as a species to understand peace. It may or it may not occur to us that the basis of our lives, of our livelihood, actually revolve around whether or not we are living peacefully. But it appears to me that with nearly 8 billion people in the world, we seem to believe in one thing more than another. I have been discussing matters, including situations. Been doing so for close to now more than a year, and as you can see, I'm at home on Sunday. And normally, the best thing to do on Sunday is actually go to church, which is something which can be considered. This is the neighborhood, how it looks like. There is actually a school. I'm just trying to avoid number plates of the vehicles which are actually parked outside. So if you look at that corner, there is a big construction. They are building housing. The government of the United Kingdom is building a huge construction, building houses. They are called affordable homes. So if you know anything about affordable home, if you understand the concept of affordable home, we have been actually discussing a lot about the way the welfare system works in the United Kingdom. We discussed this in terms of the cost of living crisis, which the cost of living crisis we all are actually familiar with, and we are all familiar with the cost of living crisis, and the cost of living crisis happens because of limit to our income, which income are limited because of the sources, perhaps also the resources involving income infrastructure, benefits, looking at the benefit system in the United Kingdom and across the globe. I've been talking about this in the other videos. Please, thank you so much. Watch the other videos if you haven't been watching. Do so. I'm actually in the kitchen now. The kitchen in this place. It's a bit rugged. This is actually a smoke detector. If something is wrong, then it just triggers an alarm. So you get smoke detector, an alarm can be triggered. And it can create all sorts of problems. Create a lot of all sorts of situations. This is actually a functional kitchen. The comment below if you think this kitchen is functional. It is. Everything you need is here. It's not the best to my choice, but this is how it look like. That is the boiler. The boiler, this is winter, you need hot water here. Needing hot water, this is using gas and electricity. So this is consistent with the cost of living crisis. People are actually struggling to access energy. That is the garden. This is a flat. So the garden actually communal. 4 people share that garden. This is the United Kingdom. Some places are actually big, but generally normal people live in normal places, and they are smaller than if you live in Africa. You probably have a lot of land, but that is not the case in the United Kingdom. Lands in the UK come in a premium far above, beyond the ages there, the garden ages. If you look deep into the horizon between the sky and the landscape, that is actual allotment. You can actually you can rent that allotment from the council, from the local authorities. That is our past. That is how the weather look like. This is winter. So dark. It's a school. It's an, I would think probably it's an academy. I'm not really sure. The outside, inside, is all the normal situation. This is the first time I'm actually having a tour of the kitchen. That also means got a rough idea, but my attention now actually, if you can see, my focus is actually to figure out if the pictures are actually clear. That is my objective, because normally I actually set these things on each stand. That's what I normally do, sitting down, recording while sitting down. I'm now doing this in part to prepare me actually to go out either in the garden or going somewhere, but the setting is so different from when normally I sit down to looking at because I'm standing now. The stance of the camera is actually very short. I have to lift it up a little, bending it a little bit to see, to try and improve the way it actually captures. I'm fairly okay with the camera actually and its conduct. That's what I'm trying to do here. And if you look around, you will actually find this is a sofa bed actually in the kitchen, because it's supposed to be a table, but I don't have a table at the moment. Instead I have this chair. Leave a comment below what you think about this chair. I was thinking of sending it to Africa to be repaired in Africa, and so that they can use it there. Because somebody told me the frame is strong. So I'm keeping it here temporarily, but it's a sofa bed. Sofa bed means you can sleep on it and sit on the bed. Just keeping it there temporarily, waiting for an opportunity to send it to Africa. If it can be repaired, I'm not so sure about that. This is the living room. I need to put up the curtain properly. The door is not working very well. Some people need to come and repair the door. It's stuck. And so is the curtain. I need to do the curtain. And this is where I normally operate. What I normally do. Should be familiar with these chairs. That's where I normally sit, actually. I normally sit there, and that's where I work. But also work wow. So this is the living room. That's where I normally sit, at the back there. And on this chair, I normally sit on that chair. Can also sit there, and I need to get a new computer chair. That is a temporary chair. So this is how I look like. This is how the living room look like. It's not very big. The reason I'm doing this is so that I get familiar with actually moving around. Get familiar, because I've been stationary doing things. As you can see, doing things stationary. Be more flexible. This is practice. Essentially, this is practice. Making sure things are fairly as orderly as possible. I find this to be fairly cool exercise, because see, it is so easy to take recording video for granted until you really start recording videos, because this is a different approach to really videoing. And for me, it is really turning into a useful exercise if you want to call it that way. And like I said, that is supposed to be computer chair. That's why I don't sit there, because I need a new computer chair. Office chair. That's a temporary chair. I borrowed it to put it there. Here, as you can see, it's called practice. It's a bookshelf. And part of the reason of doing this is because I am planning now to work with a friend who is a YouTuber. He has a really big garden. And I spoke to him. His wife actually doesn't like camera. She likes the camera, but she doesn't like being on the camera. So the plan now is to kind of like do a video in my friend's garden. He's a YouTuber as well. He would be the only YouTuber I'm working with, because I've been working by myself, and it has been a good experience. So part of my aim is actually to start interviewing certain individuals in certain specific ways. And I would be interested on departing slightly from what I'm doing now. Not really departing, but mixing things up a bit. Because I've been talking about one thing for a long time. I'll be talking about the same thing over at every opportunity: the cost of living crisis, and see how it goes. Because the cost of living crisis, any crisis actually, is connected to a crisis is actually connected to displacement. So, for example, if you lose your job, you move from one employment to another. That is displacement. There is war in Iraq. There's war in Israel. People are always on the move. That is a crisis, the cost of living crisis. Some people will be losing their homes because they cannot afford to pay rent. They could be in rent arrears. They will be displaced, probably moving from one property to another, to make sure they are actually achieving affordability. Because if you cannot afford a big place, you may have to move to a smaller one, which is affordable. You live in a home in the United Kingdom, you are actually facing something called the council tax. The council tax is a form of taxation. If you live in a property in the UK, you pay the council tax. You pay the council tax. It is what it is. You pay the council tax. That is the Wi-Fi. That's the Wi-Fi in this place. And that is the telephone line in the home telephone. A receiver, a very old receiver actually. This is actually a lamp stand, which the lamp actually spoiled. This lamp is spoiled, and I really love it, because this is actually What you see here, these are DVD rack. You put your DVD there and other similar things. So this is for DVD rack right there. So the lamp used to be here, but it's the spare is there. If I find someone, because it's no longer in the shop, I bought it many years ago. I can't see it now in the shop, so I have to try and get some people to repair this if I can, but not really now. This is a craft I got from Uganda, from Africa, East Africa, many years ago, about 20, 30 years ago. It was sent to me by a friend. This is a lamp, reading lamp mainly. If you comment below what you think, bookshelf again, workstation. That's where I do my work at the moment, indoors. One way or the other, it might be changing sooner or later. These are the laptops in some gadgets right there. Look like a mini office, home office, because I work from home. I do telephone advice from home. Normally I use my mobile phone. This mobile phone I'm using here. I've seen from some YouTubers that there's something called GoPro. Leave a comment below if you know GoPro, what it is. It's a camera. I am being told it works very well. I also see glimpses of it. Some YouTubers are using GoPro. Leave a comment below if you know information, have information on GoPro. So if I find something I like, which I think might be helpful, GoPro, maybe it will improve the way the camera works. And GoPro would really go a long way. Right now, I'm actually using a mobile phone. And I'm getting used to it a little bit. And every little helps. There you go. So, like I said, I'm still talking about the cost of living crisis. Talking about the cost of living crisis, except I'm now holding a stick in my hands and also to see how it works. This is the lamp and the shade, the lamp shade in the living room. I'm actually fairly impressed by the quality of the pictures. It's not the best, but I'm fairly impressed by the quality of the picture. So like I said, I've been talking about the cost of living crisis for a full year, sitting in this room, planning now to go out and continue talking about the cost of living crisis. So I was talking about the cost of living crisis. I'm talking about a home in the United Kingdom. If you live in the UK, if you live in another country, then you can leave a comment below to tell me about the cost of living crisis in your country. Tell me about if you have council tax. Pay council tax if you live in a home. And then you leave a comment. Let me know if you pay council tax in your country. More or less, everybody in the United Kingdom pay tax. If you don't pay tax in the United Kingdom, leave a comment below. Let me know that you don't pay taxes. Some property in the UK pay taxes, others don't. The way to know that is to check with the local authorities, the website, to see if the status of your valuation. If you speak to some individual, they believe they shouldn't pay rent. They also believe they shouldn't pay taxes because they don't have any money. But in the UK, if you live in a home and you're liable to pay tax and you're also liable to pay rent, make sure you pay both. If you don't pay your rent or council tax, then you're going to be in debt. If rent debt is called rent arrears, debt on the council tax is called council tax arrears. In the United Kingdom, if you're in rent arrears, that is a priority debt. The same thing with council tax arrears, which means you didn't pay your council tax, you're liable to pay council tax. You're in council tax arrears, that is also a priority debt. A priority debt is a serious debt. If you are in rent arrears, it is a priority debt, because if you don't pay a priority debt on your rent arrears, your home can be taken away, you can be evicted. In the United Kingdom, if you're in council tax arrears, if you don't pay your council tax arrears, you can go to prison if you cannot really give a valid reason why you're not paying council tax. So it is mandatory. If you're in trouble in your home with council tax or rent arrears, the best thing is to get help from advisors who are actually good in their jobs, giving advice on debt, including when there is an emergency, including something called bailiff in the United Kingdom. An example of debt also, if you watch television, not if you own television. If you watch television, you need to pay TV license. Television license is also a priority debt, because I think you can go to prison as well if you don't pay your TV license. Going forward, hopefully I will be talking about debt. And normally there are expert specialists who deal on the matter of debt. This is the bathroom, as always. It's a bit of a mess. There's a shower in a bath. It's not the cleanest, as always, but there can be room for improvement. It's a case of cleaning, really, these things. Shower. That's how it looks like. So this is actually, generally, these are property of ordinary people look like in the United Kingdom. Standard practice, so to speak. The bedroom leaves a lot to desire. I don't make beds very well. This is a glimpse of how it is. It's quite untidy. This is messy. I normally avoid taking parked cars, because number plate, I don't want them to be seen. So it's normally best to take this pictures from outside where you have more control. The corridor. This is the intercom. If you ring the doorbell, then this is where pick it up. The door handles, letterbox, door handles, the alarm system, the bell rings there. This is the corner. We're back in the kitchen again. This is a 1-bedroom flat. Fridge. Don't ask what is inside the fridge. Bits and pieces. This is part of the kitchen. Water, flash, fruits, some fruits there. Lighting at the kitchen. This is actually a toaster. Bread, actually. This is where you toast the bread. This is microwave. Coffee and ginger. I normally drink honey. That is honey. I'm trying to avoid drinking sugar. It's the garden. So it would be really important for people to know that living in a house represents the cost of living. And normally in the United Kingdom, like in any country, you need to make sure you're on top of your bits and pieces. So when we always, every time we speak about the cost of living, we are talking about income. Primary source of income in the United Kingdom is work or employment or self-employment, and the other half is actually benefit. So if you watch the rest of the video, you will find that I've been talking about universal credit. Universal credit is money, it's financial support given by the government to help people who need help. Universal credit now is replacing legacy benefit. It's similar, if not the same, but like I said in the other video, the primary problem with universal credit or benefit is the level of pay. In the other videos, I've also mentioned that employment and self-employment, especially small and medium businesses, low pay is a chronic problem in the United Kingdom. In the United Kingdom, in terms of employment, there is something called the national minimum working wage, which are actually salary or payments from employment. Self-employment is also what you get in terms of profit, but the level is always low. Often, it's the function of the government to manage the economy, to make sure there is growth, to make sure the finances are in order, to make sure debts, national debts and also taxation are actually manageable. If you're a member of the household in the United Kingdom, you are often subjected to different taxes, income tax, council tax, to say the least, also value added tax, VAT. These taxes normally add to the cost of living in a household. You up in the kitchen, living room, bathroom, bedroom, or store, and you always have to spend money to manage the household. In the kitchen, the cost of living is reflected when you struggle to buy food. And food like fruits and all the others. In the United Kingdom, you also pay for water. You pay for drinking water. You buy it from the supermarket or from the shops. But also you pay water coming into your property. In the kitchen, the blue tap is actually drinkable water. This is the red tap. Actually, you don't drink from the red tap. Like I said previously, this is a boiler. It's a modern equipment in Europe and maybe developed one also in Africa now. This is where the gas is actually burned and electricity is also used. Often, the cost of energy, food, and water is fundamental. Energy, if you are in debt, then it is priority debt because your service can be connected, gas and electricity. If you're in debt with water, it's non-priority debt because in Britain, if you're in debt, your service cannot be connected by law, although you can be taken to court to recover the debt. If you own a vehicle, make sure it's ULEZ compliant. ULEZ low, ultra low emission, ULEZ, ULES, ULES. I don't know what S stands for. Actually, ULEZ is ULEZ, ultra low emission zone, which zone actually when you drive a car, a vehicle which is non-compliant, I think you pay about £15 or £12 per day, which is a serious taxation. This also adds to the cost of living crisis because vehicles are now becoming an essential product. In terms of transport, public transport is getting more expensive, something the government could do to actually manage to reduce the cost of public transport. During winter, some buses are so cold, they're so uncomfortable and also unsafe to travel in. If normally when such a thing happens, best to complain to the bus company, or if, in my opinion, you could actually complain to your local member of parliament. If there are problems with the buses, also buses running very late, and there are bus routes in the United Kingdom, but still buses are actually running late and very inconvenient. In summer, often some buses are so hot that you struggle actually to travel very comfortably. Also, there is something called Oyster card, which is actually a card system for traveling, and more bus drivers are actually sending customer away. Even if you have money, you cannot travel in a bus. You need to put money into your card or credit card or debit card or in a travel card. And that is also a system increasingly happening in the United Kingdom, which people should now be aware, and also they should actually try and manage that situation because it can be really difficult. More and more school children are actually being allowed, are actually encouraged to required actually to carry identity card, because if you are actually a child, you're not supposed to pay for buses generally, because in a sense you are actually either paying discount or actually if you're below a certain age, I don't know how old, you are not supposed to pay. But also if you're a pension age, state pension age, I think there are facilities where you may not need to pay your bus fares, and you need to carry your ID and your proof that you're actually not supposed to pay. And also sometimes it applies to railway and train travel system. There are taxis, but these are normally private transport system, including obviously things like boat and airplane. These are all accounting towards the cost of living crisis. Where I live, there are schools. This is a school, actually secondary school and primary school. I think also nursery school, if I'm not sure. But the problem with children now going to school is the cost of transport. There's also the cost of meals and uniform, as well as perhaps I would say there is no tuition fee for children in the United Kingdom. Children study for free, but the cost of education is becoming more and more. And also different local authorities actually set different rules. There are more help in other local authorities than others. In some local authorities, there are local authorities who do not help at all, including help with the cost of school uniform, and also the problem with the cost of food for children. Children are going hungry in schools, which is actually a problem now increasingly happening in the United Kingdom. And it's the sixth richest country in the world. It is really not necessary for children to go hungry in school, and also parents will struggle with the cost of living crisis. The cost of living crisis, as I have, if you watch the rest of the video, thank you so much for your support to this channel. There is actually a problem to do with income, and income is a problem as it's also affecting the way people actually live their life. Is income related, low pay, and low pay rate of benefit, but also there's a lot of problem with employment because of technology. Technology is now taking jobs away from people. Technology itself is a good thing because people benefit from value addition. The quality of product and services is applied when technology is used effectively. The problem with technology is that accessing the benefit of technology is becoming a problem because of lack of government support for small and medium businesses, as well as in big corporations who are actually managing the economy now to produce goods and services. The cost of buying a new car is a problem following the policy of ULEZ, which is actually covering London and Greater London ultra low emission zone, which is actually the policy argument is based on the requirement or the necessity to protect the environment. Traffic pollution, in my opinion, should actually be managed by the government. The government should actually support the British people. Level of benefit should go up significantly, maybe £30 an hour. And level of national living or minimum wage should also go up to £30 an hour. If you work about 8 hours a day, and you should be able to earn after tax in a year about £30,000. That is in my opinion. And I think my opinion with regard to the level of pay is actually accurate. The other thing with employment is that small and medium businesses are closing down, which are actually the mainstay of providing employment for the people of the United Kingdom. Also, if you look at the retail sector now closing down more and more because of technology, it used to be the mainstay of actually providing jobs for especially young people who leave university, who have live in colleges or schools. These changes involving technology and impact on employment is supposed to be good for the country, creating more wealth and actually contributing to positive development and also ensuring good progress in all the sectors, social sector, private sector, and also community sector. Family life in the UK should improve significantly if the government actually pay attention to the issue of social injustice in terms of income distribution, and for people who are actually on low income and also maybe on medium income, they should actually experience something called income maximization by way of government increasing the level of benefit simplifying accessing benefit, and also supporting employers, small and medium businesses, especially to produce policies which are actually in favor of people who work for a living, including allowing employers and also employment to give right to employee who start a job on for day one, employees being protected from employers in terms of actually unfair dismissal, among other things, employment-wise. One of the problems actually is around healthcare as well, because there are a lot of ill health, mental health, depression, and anxieties are also on the increase, and accessing healthcare for the majority of the British people is becoming harder and harder. And some people now have to spend their money to buy medicine from pharmacy, and accessing the health service is becoming harder and harder. You contact your general practitioner, GP, in London or in the United Kingdom, you can take up to an hour before you actually get connected on the phone, or even 2 hours, and you'll speak then to an administrator, not even a medical doctor. If you are lucky, you might find opportunity to speak to your doctor, but the chances are that you will not get an appointment with the doctor. And also, the general practitioners in the United Kingdom generally do not pre-book appointment, which means in theory you're not going to speak to your doctor at all. Medical doctor for families are actually the primary source of help for people who are sick, and accident and emergency, which is actually the main hospital, is also a problem. You can actually, if you walk into the hospital with because of your health condition, you can wait for 2 days or more. It may sound untrue, but even if you actually call an ambulance, you might not be able to get help immediately. So this is something the government should look into going forward in terms of healthcare. All this actually contribute to pressures on the families in relation to the cost of living crisis, which is actually exacerbating the problems. If you're actually traveling from abroad, if you're an immigrant, especially if you don't have money, if you want to settle in the UK, if you are actually already settled, you are not illegal immigrant, you are legal immigrant living in the United Kingdom. The policy now, you have to live for over 5 years and get indefinite leave to remain, a permanent stay, before you have recourse to public fund. If you are not yet having recourse to public fund, it means you're going to face destitution in the United Kingdom. There are some help, but the getting of this help are really, really difficult. So if the message from the UK government is that if you're not rich, don't come to Britain, either to visit or to stay. Another source of income is pension, which pension is actually benefit. State pension, you actually can start getting pension when you are about, I think, 66, between 66 and 67. You can check on gov.uk, which is the main website from United Kingdom government. You can also find information on Citizen Advice website, the public website of Citizen Advice. I keep mentioning Citizen Advice because Citizen Advice are actually the biggest advice service in the United Kingdom. There are other organizations like Shelter and the rest of the charitable organizations to complement the local authority service and their infrastructures, including their website. Society is moving digital, so be aware to actually be computer compliant. And if you are not working on low income, try to get help from the government, local authority, if you can get free training on computing and also the internet. We live in exciting time, and also technology is now changing the way we operate, and it's taking jobs away also, which means the government coming into power should be thinking of how to provide welfare. If for people who cannot access work, not because they don't want to work, not because something is wrong with them, but because the market is changing, the government should actually listen to good advisors on employment, on income, on poverty, because employment is actually the primary source of income in the United Kingdom. Also, the matter of security with the police, the legal system, and other infrastructure problematic. And young people are now being killed on the street. There's a lot of violence. There should be more support from the British government to actually facilitate community a project which are actually there to bring people, young people together, to actually engage young people. And we need more, not less, support in the community. Government has argued that they are interested in small governments. They are, and they are therefore the privatizing of the government actually means is less and less support for community organization. We all need efficient and effective government, but also we, as ordinary people who are not actually the ruling class, who are actually ordinary people who are not multimillionaires and multi-billionaires, will need more help from our members of parliament, from our governments, from rich people who can actually set up a charitable organization very easily in every section of society to support young people, support the elderly, women, single parents, and children. The primary objective of the United Kingdom should be to actually eradicate poverty from the UK and also align with other European powers and other global powers to eradicate poverty totally by increasing the level of income either through employment, self-employment, or through the benefit system, welfare benefit system.